I am Namika Parker. I'm the General Manager of Access Link. We are happy to host this event as a hybrid event. It's in person and virtual. Very new and different for us, so be patient. We are going to play a presentation. After the presentation, we'll take a short break, and then we'll start taking the customer feedback and comments. We'll explain a little bit more in the presentation. I kind of covered everything in that. So here we go. Hello, everyone. I'm Namika Parker, again, the General Manager of Access Link and the non-technical person, guilty. Thank you for joining us for this Access Link Forum. Again, this is our first one since 2019. So for some of you, this is going to be a totally different experience. Please don't judge us based off of those first 10 minutes, okay? You got to save the heckling for the feedback section, okay? Before we continue with the presentation, I just wanted to mention that, again, the recording of the event will be on our New Jersey Transit YouTube channel and readily available upon request with the transcript and the speaker notes. So if you don't catch every glorious point that I make, it's okay. We have it for you in a nice little package later. So let's continue. I'm calling this the Forum of Firsts. This is my first time presenting as the general manager. I was usually behind the scenes support in operations. For many of my teammates, this is their actual first Access Link Forum, period, because we haven't done one in quite a while. This is our first hybrid forum, thus the technical challenges we were having. And we'll have another chance to do it tonight at 5 o'clock as well. Let's see. So it's the first time in Linden, first time at this location. I mentioned all of those little details because this is new. It's different. We are really asking for a lot of patience and grace as we figure out these technical difficulties. And foreshadowing, that was in my presentation. So we're trying to be as inclusive while we make these improvements and these changes that we need to make. So everybody can't be here on site for a host of different reasons. We still want to make sure that they are able to participate in these types of events. I also want to start by saying thank you to the Access Link team. We're a small but really, really mighty group, and when we show up to an event, we show up to support the customers. Thank you. Right. And to the team, you know, we get it right way more than we get credit for, and that's okay, right? Remember the importance of your job and your ability to impact change and impact the customers. So I want to give a hearty thank you to the Recreation Center staff who have been here running around with us, getting things turned on and off, especially you. Thank you. And finally, I do want to give a big, huge thank you to everybody who is not just on site, but the folks that are behind the scenes, manning the computers, the keyboard jockeys that are watching and making sure everything is being coordinated properly. Let's see. So today we're here to really, really update everybody on what we've been working on and the problems and challenges that we are trying to solve. Few reminders, you don't need to wait until this once a year event to give us feedback. You can reach out to customer service or any New Jersey Transit person to give them feedback about your experience with the service. You can definitely call our customer service department or email them, adaservices@njtransit.com. Disclaimer and spoiler, I will be mentioning that email address quite a bit. The reason I always try to steer people towards the email is because you don't have to wait until they open to send your thoughts. You can do it 24/7, it goes in there and it is logged and taken care of. You can also call 973-491-4224 and they are option 5. So we are happy today to discuss the presentation and any other thing that comes up. What we cannot do, okay, is discuss personal and private incidents and situations because this is a public setting and we do not want you to give out your private, information in a public forum. So we have staff manned all around the back. You see them with those wonderful black polos that say Access Link, and some with the little highlighter vest on. They are ready to take your comment if it's something that's situation specific to you, okay? And then they will follow up and they'll reach out to find out, a little more detail. We will do our best today to answer appropriately. But again, we want to make time for everybody to be able to give us feedback and comments. So we're not going to answer after every comment. That we would be here until 5 o'clock, and then we will have to do it again. So lastly, and ultimately, again, we are here to listen to you. You won't hurt our feelings either. We're tough. The agenda. So we already covered the welcomes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, hi, hi. We're going to talk about some stats and some numbers. Current challenges, responses and remedies, AKA the corrective actions in the pipeline, like what are we doing? Pilots, technology, and then we'll have feedback and comments from you, the customer, and the public. So after the presentation, again, we're going to take a short break, what they call a bio break. Let everybody, take a minute to process what they just heard, this wonderful information. And then for the viewers and people joining virtually, feel free to send your comments to either adaservices@njtransit.com or in the chat, either one, have fun. And I believe the chat is turned on because we had to use it already. So next slide, please. So on the left of this slide, we have an overview of the Access Link management team. So these folks have an impressive amount of knowledge, and many, including myself, have been in the industry or at Access Link for over 20 years. So when I call your name, your department, or your company or group, you probably hate this, but please stand up so that the folks can see actually who's here supporting them. So we're going to start with Adam Katz, the Assistant General Manager of Contracts. Hugo Perez, who is on a much-needed vacation, the Assistant Manager of GM of Operations. Shiva, is Shiva here? I didn't see Shiva. He's probably joined virtually. But Shiva is the Director of IT for not just Access Link, but for Light Rail as well. He's our technology guy. Rhonda Banks, who is the Director of Operations. We have Chris Tucker, who is the Director of Customer Experience. So all those wonderful pilots and those emails you get. Next we have here Roberto Rios is the Director of Contract Accountability. We have Lauren Williams, the Director of Contract Administration. Miguel Castaneda, the Director of Scheduling and Analysis. Althea Branch, the longtime Manager of Customer Service and Outreach. Kelly Douglas, the Manager of Certification. So that's usually the first stop on the customer's journey. They call certification, ask some questions, right?
Thank Kelly. We're here for her.
Well, it's recorded, so we're going to make her watch it. So then we have Briseida Ortiz, who's the money. She works in finance. She's the Manager of Finance. Makia Penix, Service Monitor and Support, which is a very new position that we created. Kalila Gordon, the Manager of Reservations, back there. And then on the right, we have our partners in crime, right? We have the service providers who, right now we work with two. One is TransDev, formerly First Transit, and then Easton Coach Company. They also have staff here supporting the event. So thank you all, and you can have a seat. I saw something pop up on the chat there.
I'm sorry, they can't see the presentation.
Is it sharing the PowerPoint? What? since I'm doing 4 jobs, I'm expecting 4 checks today. All right, slide number 5, here we go. Well, let me go back. So for the folks virtual, this is all the team members you just heard me talk about. So service providers, if you guys can stand up for a moment, we want to give you guys some credit. We have folks over here hiding out in the back. Hi. And the Easton Coach folks. All right. So next slide, please. The numbers, right? We're going to talk about what we call FY23. That's basically from July to June. That's the fiscal year, our financial calendar year, so to speak. So customers, there are currently over 70,000 customers eligible to ride Access Link. That's an increase of 8% from previous year. Certifications, we processed over 5,200. That's an increase from 3,500 the previous year. Trips, we've done and completed over 1.3 million trips. That's an increase of 11%. And this increase we attribute to customers returning to Access Link as a part of the recovery from the pandemic. Also, other service providers going out of business, reducing their service, that kind of falls back on Access Link. And I mean, when I say other service providers, I mean like school bus companies, like the school bus, they might not have been able to maintain their drivers, and then they tell the folks, hey, we don't have a school bus route this year. You have to figure out how your son or daughter or loved one is getting to their program, and then they give us a ringy-dingy, right? Vehicles, so our fleet is a mix of different vehicle types. You see the bus, you see the cars, and we have a couple of vans. So we have about 550. Operators, we have almost 600 operators working with us. Calls, we took over 900,000 calls. That was a 17% increase from the previous year. Reservations alone increased by 22%, and that's hugely significant. So when you see us trying to steer and support you while you use these other things, it's not because we don't want to talk to you, it's we don't want you to wait to talk to us. Like, we want you to get what you need and, you know, go on with your day. Trying to save you some time. Web trips. So far this year, we've booked, customers have booked about over 305,000 trips. We have about 37,000 customers that are active, you know, on the website and use it, but about 24,000 who are really getting their money's worth from using that website and the app. Easy Wallet. We have about 4,000 customers who have accounts. We're trying to definitely boost that up. It's such a convenient way to use the system. So you really don't have to worry about exact change and, oh, I thought it was going to be this amount and that amount. And then the reconciling part. So let's say you thought your fare was this, but it was actually that. It's so easy for us to go in and fix your account, give it back or adjust it, instead of with the money where we're trying to like give you back 50 cents or, you know, give you back $1. Like, we really don't have a mechanism for that. Like, we require exact change, and the drivers don't make change. So to avoid all of those interactions that could kind of go a little off course, we try to get people to embrace prepayment, electronic fare. And then TNCs. Since we began in May 10th to be exact, we've provided over 47,000 trips with Uber and Lyft. That's a lot in only 3 months. That's a lot. 3,500 customers have raised their hand and said, yes, sign me up, I'll try it. So right now we're only doing it in region 2 and 5, but we are, I'll talk about that later, hastily working to try to get this throughout the whole state. And last but not least, the OTP, our on-time performance was 84% statewide. And that's across all regions. Next slide, please. Some customer service stats. So outreach, like everything else, has increased. And when we're invited to attend, participate, or present to various groups on many topics, we show up, we deliver. All you have to do is give us the invite, and we make our way there. We go to all parts of this state, and we go to all different types of events. So if you have an event, an organization that would benefit from learning about not just Access Link, but accessible services and the different programs we offer, that's rail, bus, light rail, and access link, let us know. Our traditional outreach team, they come out and they talk about, again, everything. So this year, I think we've held about 60, maybe a little more than that. Communications, AKA complaints. We like communications. That sounds better than complaints. But we've taken about over 9,000. That's a lot of complaints, and we'll talk about why in a moment. And then commendations. 1,400 times a customer reached out to us to say, thank you. Oh, let me pause. We got a music break. That was very zen. That was a zen moment before we get into these heavy topics, right? Thank you for that. Challenges. Dun, dun, dun. The proverbial elephant in the room, right? Like, challenges, we have them. There's no secret. They've kind of gotten worse through the pandemic, but we definitely are coming out of this on the other side. So, we operate in transportation, and like many of our peers, the persistent nationwide operator shortage is still prevalent. It's not going away. Let's see. So let me expand on that thought just a little bit. So there's a talent pipeline shortage of skilled transit workers and qualified applicants. To add to that, again, other service providers having struggles and going out of business and reducing their hours is really impacting our service and spiking our demand. So other complaint trends that we've saw over this past year, scheduling inefficiencies, long on-board times, hold times when calling, issues with staff, specifically frontline staff, and that could be an agent, so telephone responsive agent or operator. So what are we doing about it, right? Well, I'm happy you asked. I was going to say I'm so happy, but I don't want to oversell it. I'm happy you asked. Next slide. Oh, yep. So here we go. Rome was not built in a day, right? And it wasn't cleaned up in a day either. So it's going to take us some time to implement all of these big, major, drastic changes. So this right here is a oversimplified, okay? When I say oversimplified, streamlined list of top priority tasks that we are feverishly working for to fix. So all of these things are in various stages of analysis, design, planning, implementation, testing, and updating. So I will go through the list. On-time performance. So we have new standards. Go figure, right? These come from the Department of Justice settlement agreement and pertain to trip and telephone performance. Restructuring the entire paratransit system. That's a lot in that little phrase. Restructuring the entire paratransit system in New Jersey. So we are looking at the effectiveness of everything. I'm talking about our contracts, our relationships, our service, our policies, our operation hours. So over the course of the next year, there will be a lot of changes. Policy changes specifically. We will be giving customers ample amount of notification. We want to make sure you are aware of the change. You can prepare for the change. You can give us comment about what is about to change. And let's see. Oh, keep your information updated, folks. Email, if you have it, share. Phone numbers for sure. We do a lot of communication. Your address, if you moved, it would be nice if we knew about it. Just saying. Scheduling inefficiencies. So we're updating our system and processes. We're incorporating more booking options like appointment time booking. We are scheduled to begin internal testing and customer testing this fall. So if you're interested in helping us out, making sure appointment time booking works and give us feedback on that, let us know. Again, ADA services, that email, it's very useful. This will be rolled out very slowly and very deliberately. So I don't know if anybody was riding when we changed our window time from 40 minutes at 2020 to 30 minutes. it was a rough change, to put it lightly. So we will not be implementing appointment time in a flick of the switch. It will be very slowly and deliberately rolled out, so just wanted to stress that part. TNCs, we're in the pilot phase, so again, we're doing this in regions 2 and 5. We are looking to adjust the program so that we can roll it out statewide. And I'll talk about what some of those adjustments look like in a little bit. Transportation network companies. Those are your Ubers, Lyfts, Via, Userve. Those are TNCs. I'm sorry, I work in transportation. We use a lot of acronyms. I'm sorry. Long on board time, that's OBT. So the goal for us is fewer customers on the ride, less sharing, expanding the Rider's Choice pilot, Paratransit Improvement Act pilot. Many people don't even know what that is. I'll explain what that is a little later. Hold times, more reservation tools. So booking using the telephone, not to call an agent, but to actually talk to the system. So we are looking to have an IVR, the interactive voice response system, so that you can book simple reservations with the thinking machine, or we like to call it the virtual assistant. So yes, that is artificial intelligence. Don't be scared. We're already using it. It's here already. Too late. It's too late to be scared. It's here. So also I wanted to point out that the reservationist, that group has a voicemail. So during midday, if you call, you want to leave a voicemail, somebody will call you back. Again, we're trying to make it so you don't have to hold on to speak to somebody. Let's see. We're looking at our operation hours for the telephone responsive staff. So right now, every department has certain hours. We're looking to see what those should be. Should they stay the same? Should they change, shrink, expand, whatever? We're looking at everything in that sense. Onboarding more staff. That is an ongoing effort. I will say the struggle is real. I know that we're not alone in that, because everywhere I go, I see a Help Wanted sign, and people are looking for good staff everywhere. Oh, be careful, be careful. Yeah, okay, there we go. That was making me nervous. Staff complaints. Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer. Yeah, staff complaints. So more training for the staff, as well as more education resources and training for the customers. So staff training will focus on de-escalation, conflict resolution, and empathy. Customer education will focus on the guidelines. A lot of times customers have a not so clear understanding of what Access Link is, what Access Link can do, and what our limits are. So we really need to focus a little bit harder on making sure customers understand and have expectations of the service. And when we can't meet those expectations, we guide you towards who can. So that is what we're going to be focusing on this next year. I do want to say that the more we all know, and that's customer, employee, the better these interactions will be. So you come to the conversation with a more realistic expectation of what you can do as an employee, because some stuff, did we miss opportunities to do a little more? Yeah. But are the customers calling, looking for something that is not available from us? Yep. So I do want to mention two things that New Jersey Transit started. One is called ABC. It's the Alternate, Backup, and Contingency Plan. So that's when they encourage customers to come up with alternate and contingency plans for when their preferred or typical path of travel or trip has a service disruption. So we really want to try to make sure we incorporate some of that in our educational part. So if your driver is running late, what are your options? You know, before the option was you grin and bear it and you wait, or you cancel. So we definitely have been working on expanding those different options, and we want to keep working with the customers. You have a reduced fare card. That's half off of everything that New Jersey Transit offers as far as service. Rail, bus, light rail. So are you comfortable? Do you know what's available? We want to make sure you do. The second one is ride kind, and that encourages the culture of civility and respect through the transit system. Let me just say that one more time. Civility and respect. Party of 29 over here. We're a part of that transit system. And I think sometimes people forget that Access Link is the fourth mode of travel at New Jersey Transit. And because we work with people with disabilities, it's this misconception that we are tougher than the regular transit employee, and we're not. So we are going to all work on just coming to these conversations with just a little bit more respect on both sides of the telephone, both sides of the interaction. So next slide, please. Policy, that's my favorite word. Jeez. So this summer, July 1st, we implemented a no-show policy, a new no-show policy. So for people who been riding a little longer than some, it used to be 1, 2, 3, you're out. We had to change that. That was like a little harsh, little harsh. So we had to come up with this wonderful math formula. So I'll try to explain it, but I won't over-explain it. We mailed out the policy to everyone. And if you have questions, again, customer service, they are there to help and figure out kind of where you are in that equation. So each time a customer accumulates at least 2 infractions in a calendar month, they will be sent an infraction warning letter. The monthly warning letter is intended to notify you you've occurred some infractions, like, hey, you want to stop doing that, cancel those trips. You stop not canceling those trips and we'll stop sending you these letters, right? That's the idea. Disrupt the pattern. Customers who continue to receive infractions in the calendar month will become candidates for suspension. Doesn't that sound so nice? Like you're about to be a candidate for graduation, but you're gonna be suspended, not get a diploma, you're gonna be suspended. Let's see, 2 things need to be present for that to happen. You have booked at least 10 trips in that month, and that will include all of these things listed here. So it's the rides performed, the trips that were missed, the rides that the customer had a no-show for, no-show in transit, and late cancellations. And you had to have accumulated no-shows, no-show in transit, late cancellations that are about 20% of your ride. So please don't try to do that math right now. Just don't try to do it. Next slide. The newest and most significant change to this policy is not just how we calculate the no-show and who's going to be suspended, it's that we no longer assist with canceling some of those trips. So what do I mean, right? If you had trips scheduled, let's say you had 3 trips scheduled in one day, and you were no-show for that very first trip of the day, we would cancel those other rides. We would prevent you from getting more. So you got 1 no-show instead of 3 in that situation. And the customer will only have to call us to reschedule it or adjust the itinerary. We would reschedule those other rides. You call us, let us know, hey, I'm still going to make it to my other trip. So we do that part. So now that customer has to call and cancel every single trip. We will not be canceling any trips for you. So if you have 5 trips for the day and you didn't cancel those 5 trips, you have 5 no-shows for that day. Each individual trip is its own thing. And this is a part of the whole customer choice and empowering customers to manage their travel. So we will make sure you have every available tool to know what you scheduled, but we're out of the cancel game, okay? Next slide, please. So another thing that we're going to be changing is, and this is coming January 2024, is that for subscription riders who have trips on holidays, we normally send out a call-out message like, hey, we're canceling the trip on that holiday. If you need a trip, call and book. So we're not going to be doing that part anymore. We're going to send out the list of the holidays where we're canceling. If you need a trip, we'll be reminding you in other ways. We use the customer call out in so many different new ways that we don't think is as effective as it should be, and we don't want to overuse it, right, Stephen? We don't want to overuse it. So we'll have messages, like I said, My Transit Alert. It's a great feature where we push out information to your email, or you can get a text message. The telephone, so if you call us, you'll hear it, and we'll have it all over the web as well. Next slide, please. Pilots. So I'll talk about TNCs, or those transportation network companies, in a moment. The Paratransit Improvement Act, also known as the Best Practices Pilot, we've received applications from people who want to be in the pilot. They want to take some of these trips from Access Link and do them. We are working with ARC Mercer to go to the sites of the applicants to see if they are able to handle some of these Access Link trips. The goal of this legislation was to kind of share resources, share some of these expenses, and improve the customer experience. So if you live by a place that is providing local service, why have us come all the way from this side of the county to give you that trip when we have somebody in your area that's way more familiar with the geography and everything else that can take the trip? So that's the idea. It's not that we're just trying to, not care about the trip. We really are thinking about how we partner with local service providers a little better. So, and if anybody who has a subscription is interested in, again, helping us out, trying it out, kicking the tires, so to speak, let us know. Next slide, please. So, transportation network companies, I mentioned that a few times, going to mention it a few more. Sorry. We're working with Uber and Lyft, again, regions 2 and 5. But coming soon, we are looking to adjust the program. One of the things we're absolutely doing is having the customer book directly with the TNC. So we're going to cut out the middleman for a little bit in some of the sections. Instead of you calling us to book your ride with Uber and Lyft, you can just log in, book your ride, be on your merry way, right? That's wonderful. So as with any technology, we never just give it to you and just walk away. We're always there to answer questions. I've been calling customer service tech support because they will literally walk you through how to use it, help you log in, the whole nine. Let's see. We're also working to onboard TNCs that operate in the space of disability. So a lot of people have a visceral reaction when they hear Uber and Lyft. They just instantly think about every horrible news story you've ever heard. It's like, oh God, why did they do that? And I wish I could say that stuff never, ever happens, but is not the typical experience. And we've been talking to the customers that have been using it, and they have been completely enjoying that whole situationship over there. Like, they really like it. But what I mean is, we're trying to get providers that operate in a space of disability, so they have those wheelchair accessible vehicles. They have a bigger vehicle. So for people who aren't in a scooter or wheelchair, they just have limited mobility, they have that for you. So they're out there, we're talking to them, and hopefully we'll be able to make some great announcements, in the next few months on that part. Next slide, please. So we have created materials and information about the TNC program, readily available in different formats. Just let us know. Most people really just want to know, who is this for? Is this for me? And how does it work? So a little bit about it, without going through the whole catalog of everything. It's for any Access Link customer that's certified. Everybody. You do have to have a cell phone. And we always jokingly say it doesn't have to be a smartphone. It just needs to be able to receive calls and text messages. That's it. So we really tried to make it as simple as possible in that regard. It's the rider's choice. So it's up to you if that works for you. Like, we're not going to say, well, if you have this, then you shouldn't do that. That is not what we do. We leave that up to the customer. But I will say, these documents have a lot of information. The FAQ that we created is with all the questions and concerns that we got from the test group and the people who were using it. So it's a lot of good stuff in here. We suggest that you read it. If you still have questions and need more guidance, customer service is there. And since we started this program, the feedback from the customers not only have made it successful, but it helps us design the next phase of the program. So feedback is readily, is welcome. So, you know, that's what we're here for, right? Next slide, please. Technology, right? Normally, when we get to the whole paratransit space, we hear things like, oh, they're not gonna like it, they're not gonna use it. And we have been proving that wrong for a good while now. So it's not that the technology is not welcomed, it's the features, the policy, the settings, the way we use the tool. Technology is just a tool. So we're looking at everything. For this particular pilot, because we got a couple of things going on in the pilot world, but technology-wise, we are using artificially intelligent IVR. Right now is for cancel and status. So if you call up to cancel, you can use the virtual assistant, be done. Basic IVRs work like you call, it has some features, some functions. If it can help you, it will. If it can't, it'll escalate it to a person. That's not really different. What's different about what this is that it's conversational. So you don't have to talk robotic to the machine, and it learns from those interactions. So every time it has a call from a customer and something goes right, it learns what went right. And I mean, like, it breaks down the call very detailed. When something goes wrong, it breaks down what went wrong, and it improves every time you use it. So we liked it so much that we want to expand it. So now we're working on trying to get you a reservation option where you will be able to call and book simple trips. So home to work, 8 o'clock tomorrow. It'll boop, 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 right? Let's see. So the positive part of that replicant program, that's the company that we're working with, is that it's been taking thousands of calls every week. So that's thousands of times a customer didn't have to wait for a service monitor. That's thousands of times people got a confirmation text when they canceled a trip, which is really wonderful. The customers have been rating it between 4 and 5 out of 5, so that's great. And again, the wait time is 0. You call, you go to status, you give it a try. The other thing I want to kind of highlight is that we will soon be a part of NJ Transit, the rewards program. So you earn points that you could redeem at stores, restaurants, and other attractions when you pay for your ride, and that's it. It's no extra step. So as you ride and pay, you get points. You then can choose how and when you use the points, so they won't just disappear. They'll be there when you log into your account. You can go and see, and I think that's great. Next slide, please. Contact information. How do you find us? I can't even begin to tell you how many times somebody is looking for us, and we are here in plain sight. So I always do this slide at the end of every presentation because, you just never know. Phone number. Yeah, we changed it a long time ago. It used to be an 800 number, and it was just costing us a lot of money. So 973-491-4224. You can follow us on Twitter. We would love for you to follow us on Twitter. Again, it's another way we communicate with customers. So if you are more social and you're on social media, I'm not, but if you are, at NJTransit_AL. The main company page, it's a lot of information on the New Jersey Transit website that people really never even know is there. But we kind of live on the accessibilities part of it. So if you go to the website, it's right there. You can find out about not just Access Link, but your county service providers and a whole bunch of other programs. Then you have the NJ Transit alerts. We use those all year long. Service disruptions, winter advisories, reminders like when it was 100+ degrees. Please don't wait outside. Please go inside. Don't wait outside. Like, we send out things that we think are of value, and we would love for you guys to use it and tell us what else we could be doing with that tool. Again, you can get it email, text message, whatever. The Access Link online. So you don't have to log in. You can just go to the website, and all the announcements about different things we're working on is right there on that page. But if you do log in, you can pull up every brochure, every reference material that we created for any tech item or any policy or thing that we rolled out recently is there. So if you want it, it's there. And then, of course, customer service, ADA services at njtransit.com. So thank you. I know we got off to a rocky start, but thank you. And that concludes my presentation. We will take a short break just to kind of transition and turn on the lights so that people can see who's talking. And then we'll start taking feedback, comments, and questions. Great job. Listen, I don't get that many applause, so I'll take it when I can get it. Okay, it's 11:10 and we are ready to start taking feedback and comments. We are going to start with David Peter Allen. So if everybody that's on site can kind of lower down and have a quieter conversation so we can hear the person who's about to give us their feedback. One moment, David. All right. Okay, so David, please, we're ready for your feedback.
Okay, thank you, Namika. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Please,
Well,
quiet. Thank you.
thank you. I'm David Peter Allen. I'm chair of ScatterTAC, the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Advisory Committee at New Jersey Transit. And our goal is to assist New Jersey Transit and all others concerned toward providing as seamless a transportation network as we can get for our seniors and our riders with disabilities. I live in South Orange. I am transit dependent myself due to a disability. A majority of our members depend on New Jersey Transit and affiliated providers. And roughly 1/3 of our citizen appointees use Access Link. So we are deeply concerned about Access Link, and we certainly wish you, Namika, and your crew well in resolving the problems that Access Link has had lately. We have heard complaints about our members not making our meetings because of Access Link. We have heard complaints about Access Link not shadowing the rail lines or the bus lines they live on. But we're also hearing things today that are good signs. I think this was a good presentation. I think there's a lot of hopeful stuff here. And I hope that this can be the start of a strong and constructive dialogue between Access Link management and the riders who need Access Link for their mobility. And as I said before, that includes several of our committee members. So with that, I have heard Namika mention, just invite her. And Namika, I want you and the rest of your crew to know that you have a standing invitation from ScatterTAC to continue what we hope will be a fruitful dialogue that will lead to the improvements that all of Access Link's users need. And that includes a successful Rider's Choice program with Uber and Lyft. I've heard some very good feedback about that. So I wish you all well with this forum today. Because of short notice, I have to leave now, but I will continue to listen as I go to an appointment I have to make. So thank you for the opportunity, Namika, and good luck to you and your entire crew. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the feedback. So I will let Nathan and Jahara, we'll do virtual first, and then, sorry. We'll do on-site, so the people who are here who want to make a comment first, and then we'll do virtual, because that takes a little more coordinating. So I have to go around as far as I can with this microphone, right? I feel like I'm about to sing a song and nobody wants that. So come over here first.
Hi, I'm Karen Hall. I've been an Access Link rider since 2005, and just for those of you who are new, I encourage you to just hold on, because some of the comments I've seen today were some of the concerns I had from the very beginning. And if you just hold on, they'll get it together. And are there drivers here?
If I don't know, if they are, they might be outside waiting to whisk you off to your next appointment. So thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Over here, sorry. So, here you go, sir. How you doing? No. Ready to go, so no swear words.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Jay
I'm gonna have to put
Patel.
it a little closer to your mouth.
Okay, my name is Jay Patel, and I always attend this Access Link public forum. And I was waiting since 2019 to when I will get a chance. And number one reason to attend physically, because I would like to and I love to see the NJ Transit Access Link staff personally, because we always talk on the phone, and this is the opportunity we can meet personally. Another thing is I can represent my presentation or my little feeling, and I always appreciate the Access Link service from bottom of my heart. And I'm using Access Link since year 2000, right? After becoming a blind, I use the Access Link, and it's a wonderful service. Everybody, your staff, operators, and management is a perfect person personally, and they talk professionally, and they are very trained. I call customer service and I find out regarding my no-show sometimes, and new policy discussed personally on the website also. And being a blind person, I always try to keep up with the new technology, which has like an online reservation, this and that. So I'm trying to, everything is fine, and I always appreciate the Access Link service. And this TNC program is a wonderful program. As soon as I receive the email, I just sign up for the TNC, and I'm getting the Uber service. There is a little comment about my destination in the VA hospital. I work in the VA hospital, so I talk to the customers all the time, and the keyword for that destination is a VA medical center, East Orange. Even though if you put in your personal GPS or the Uber ride booking 385 Tremont Avenue, the exact address, it won't get you to the destination. It's okay, but I'm guarantee I know that the Access Link IT people and the reservation manager will figure it out regarding this VA hospital or VA medical center destination when they transfer it to the Uber. That's all I want to say, and they will figure it out about the out of service area, because now we have the another source of transportation like a TNC. So I'm very hopeful, and I'm very glad to have this here in our program. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Okay, so as you can see, I have a limited range here. I'm gonna try to get over here. Please, nobody trip over that cord. If you could just,
I'll come to you.
and you just state your name and then give us your feedback.
Good morning, my name is Deborah Felton, and my concern has to do with when there are off hours, so like when it's lunchtime and things like that. And I had an incident where, you know, the bus didn't show up. It didn't come, and it was lunchtime, and I had been sitting outside, and I couldn't get through to anybody because it called, it was lunchtime. And I didn't know what to do. Eventually, I took an Uber home. So I love the Uber program. Because I'm going to sign up for that. Because I use that when the transit access link doesn't work. But I hear also that after hours is difficult for people too, and so how can people get in touch with somebody when it's really, like when they're stuck, or there's an emergency, or they're afraid, or they're lost, their driver's lost? What are you going to do to address that?
So I'm not gonna address every single point at the
Right.
end of it, because I want to get to everybody. Let me swing over here for a second. Oh, she does not need a microphone.
Hi, my name is Vera. This is my first time in the program, and this is my first year. And I just wanted to say, every time I call Access Link, they're on point. When I first got it, I was doing the big bus and everything and all that. And then they started the program, and then I'm so in love with the program. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to the customer service. The customer service is amazing. So many times I get to work or I get to another destination, and they say, we finished. And when I take them to the doctors, if they finish early or whatever, when you call, they don't complain. They don't give you, a tone of voice that like, oh my God, here we go, or something. Their personalities, their atmosphere is so beautiful. I'm just loving it. And I love the fact that when a tragedy comes, like I have to leave early, I call, they immediately give me an early ride to get back. Because if the doctor early, because sometimes, you send the doctors all day, and you don't send the doctors all day like you used to. Now it's early. So I call and they give me a ride right back to get home early. So I am just, my hands off for you, for the team that you have, and customer service. You're beautiful. Thank you so much.
I don't think you need the
Good morning,
microphone.
ladies and gentlemen. First of all, to Ms. Parker and New Jersey Transit, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am Tammy Zaki of Boxton. I teach middle school. That being said, my mom, I've been taking care of her all summer. 3 issues, really quick. I consolidated it. 1, the Uber service, excellent. We don't pay for that. Is that going to be continued with no pay? 2, more than one booking of one-day rides. Took my mom to her house, to the doctor, back to her house. They were over an hour late showing up for the trip. We had to cancel it. Cancel picking us up. Don't cancel me going home from her house, but they canceled that one too. So did I get caught up for a no-show because they didn't show up? I don't think so, because I was downstairs before they called to say they were on their way. Last issue, door-to-door service. You can't beat that. Book your rides early, ladies and gentlemen. I've been a customer since 2015. I'm rushing things. Since 2015, after my first knee surgery. I just had my 3rd one. And guess what? It pays to be a little late and get that door-to-door service than to be out on the bus stop in ice and cold and snow. Appreciate these customer service people. Yeah, they need some help, but you know what? We all need help. But be respectful to them, they'll be respectful to you. Again, thank you, New Jersey Transit. Thank you, Access Link. Keep on doing what you're doing. I'm one that used the website that let you know, and I don't just call for complaints. I call to compliment my riders. Yeah. I call to compliment the people that helped me. Yeah. So just keep doing what you're doing, because I'm taking my mom a lot and I'm about to go back to my classroom next week. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
The good stuff. So I can't come but.
That's okay.
Oh,
That's okay. I had 2 issues, but during the break, I was able to talk to some folks that's participating in this, and I was able to resolve it. But it was, so I had to come back. But one of the things I do want to stay and to highlight is your customer service department. Kudos to them. I call when I have a complaint, I call when I have a compliment, and I call when I have issues that should be brought to your attention, because I am an access rider. And my eyes are in the vehicle, that things that you don't see. And one more thing, and then this is gonna be it. the virtual, when you call the virtual to check with your time, now, it's only one way, because if you call and you're outside of your window time, and you call back, they keep telling you what time your ride is going to arrive. So on the tail end, that really has to come from certain artificial, you know what I mean? It's just only giving you out information one way. It don't give you the status of your ride completely. So that's a working art, that's all. But customer service is good.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa, and I want to say first of all that I'm really grateful for the announcements today, because one of my biggest complaints was just not being able to get in contact with someone fast enough. So having the opportunity to book my own ride with this Rider's Choice program in the future is amazing. But I will say one thing is, just to reiterate what Deborah said, sometimes it's really hard to reach people when you do have issues with the ride, and so because this program is expanding throughout the entire state, I would say, like, if there was an option to get a direct access to the status line again and not have to go through the machine, that'd be great, because I work with adults and youth all the time with disabilities, and it's really hard to give them a whole bunch of steps that are confusing as to how to reach the status line when really big things happen out of nowhere, like the Uber cancels, or you have an issue overall with your ride, especially with Uber. So that's my biggest thing. Another thing, with customer service, I do want to say when I did have a complaint about Uber, the agent told me to just not use the program. So, so I just want to say it's the purpose of the pilot. So I'm hoping that that changes as well, customer service.
Thank you for your comment. Can somebody help? I can't go back. No, I'm coming. This guy. No, we can't. So you with the lovely blue and yellow tie? Yeah.
They don't have a microphone.
Yeah. So careful.
Ooh, I'm traumatized. This reminds me of the Phil Donahue show back in the day.
I know. I feel like I should be saying something more, but I'm good. There you go.
You want this back, of course.
Well, it's not actually mine.
Okay, firstly, when I call in, the trouble we had earlier with the microphones, when I called in to make the reservation, again, technology being what it is, nothing's perfect, to get only 1 week's notice for this, maybe it should have come earlier, but my calling in was the same experience. I would get through, not hear the person at the other end, or get cut off. So technology-wise, someone's got to tweak the phone system. I would be told people are calling back. Nevertheless, I made it here. I was given Uber, again, not given any notice in advance, and there was some vision problems. Getting here was fine. But if it's a large shopping center with millions of vehicles, and it could be something, and again, I made a few calls in advance to try to work out all the glitches ahead of time, because I know things are complicated. So communication between the people at the call center and the customer, if they're a little more precise, the customer wants to work with you guys to make sure everything goes smoothly, and you want to do the same, so if communication was improved, that would help. Another problem I've encountered, you may want to address, every transportation entity needs to cooperate and maybe get together, because what happens, I use Access Link very, very rarely. I use the regular fixed route, but if I've had an issue with them, I'll be told, have you ever considered Access Link? So rather than resolving an issue with a bus driver on the 74 or something, go call them, tie up the service here. I've had with Logisticare, you call, well, why don't you try paratransit? So a lot of entities will point and pass the buck to someone else, rather than resolving the issues at their entity, and then everything would roll out smoother. If everyone dealt with, if someone needs a particular service, fine, but if each entity points, give them a try and they'll bother us, that kind of hurts everyone. So I made it here. Will I make it back home? Who knows? I'll stay for the evening session or next year's.
We'll make it back home.
They don't want me here. I'm surprised they didn't lock the door. Anyway, thank you. Be well. The cookies, delicious. That's the important thing. Microphone, cookies are good. Thank you.
Eric, coming over here, then I'll come right back over here.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Uber service just called in and pick us up in 30 minutes, so thank you. Access link.
Joanne, I don't want the access link. I wondered, how long when you apply do you get approved?
So right over here to the certification folks, they will answer.
My name is Kevin Tomlin. You want me to move up here so I can take the
Well,
mic?
yeah. No, you can, we didn't hear your question. So our question was, I'm not an Access Link rider, but I would like to find out what that would look like. How can I apply? So, take her name and information and then, because I know we got a couple more questions. So yeah, they will. Did you have a question?
What time do they start and finish?
Oh, very specific to where you live. So whatever bus service you live by, they will shadow that.
Hi, my name is Angela from Jeopardy House, and I help our clients with transportation. My question is, you said they're going to be booking the TNC rides directly with AT&T platform. So is that Uber and Lyft, or is there a specific website that's going to be platform going in correlation with that?
Thank you for that question, Angela. I had a couple more hands over here, I believe, right? And then we are going to go to the people who are here virtually. But that's to the limit.
Good afternoon, my name is Adela. I would also like to compliment customer service because when you do have a problem, they are very polite, even if you do have to wait on the phone sometime 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The fact is that they're courteous, they're polite, and very helpful. My whole thing was like, I had only 2 incidents, whereas one time I had to just go to the doctor's office in Maplewood, and the driver passed Maplewood and took me to Linden to Walmart. And it was just crazy. And another time I was supposed to go downtown Newark, and I only live right on 15th Avenue, downtown to Symphony Hall, and they took me to Maplewood, and I couldn't understand that. So I think it just has something to do with when they give orders to the drivers, they go by that instead of going by the geography and the closeness. They need to communicate more with the office and let them know, well, we're right here, can I take this customer? But other than that, you are great, and thank you for introducing yourself to me. I get a chance to meet you personally. Thank you.
Here and then here.
Hello, how's everyone? My name is Aretha Williams. I have a question because I don't use my credit card and I don't use Easy Wallet. I'm scrambling sometimes to break change so I can get on the bus. I'm sorry. So I can get on the bus. My thing is, if I give someone $5 and I don't have change for $1.45, you guys could enter in the system that I gave you $5 and you can have my remaining change for next time. And just take the rest of the change, you don't calculate that cold hard cash.
I'm not going to answer that, because I might
Because
answer
the driver
wrong.
does not make change for you.
Yeah, I know the drivers don't make change, but I don't know the specifics of how that works when you give them more than the ride, so I will have one of the people from customer service come in and answer that question. But we'll answer all the questions that we took today.
Thank you.
But thank you for that. Yeah.
Hi, just a quick technical question. Online, when I moved for my son, the gap of the window of opportunities, it's really big. It's like 2 hours, like say, it has to be at 6 p.m. It gives me 4:30 or whatever, 8. So how can I go around? Or how can I, even if I call, should I call? Because I prefer not to call and not to make lines busy. I can do it online myself. But always a problem with this big window. And I know that destination is like 20 minutes away from me, you know. My son is 20 years old, so I'm trying to encourage him to use Access Link by himself, you know. And Uber is great. That's, yeah. So
Thank you for that question. That's an interesting one.
This is participating. I don't have any question, but I would like to thank the assisting, the whole staff. And really, I'm very proud of doing this, and that's all being, really, it is a very good service. And I will check, yes, I'm very kindly listening. First time I do this, it is really interesting and very nice job. I thank all the staff and God bless all. Thank you.
No. Thank you for your comment. Here we go. And then I think we got one more, and then we're gonna go, yeah. Oh, a little closer. There we go.
Okay, my name is Carolyn Bailey, and first I'd like to give kudos to Althea Branch, who is superior in terms of her performance in her department. I could take a half an hour to tell you how I came to that conclusion, but accept my word for it, she's good. The question I have has to do with, I guess it's a technical problem. My account is linked to my home line, landline, but then I have a cell phone. So what happens when I'm out and about, 80% of the time, if there's gonna be a late show, it goes to my home phone, which of course I'm not gonna hear. And instead, they do not use my cell phone, even though I tell them when I'm out, use my cell phone. So I don't know how to resolve that.
And ma'am with the pink jacket, can you come a little closer? All right, we got one more question here. Don't be shy, come on. And then we're going to take the questions from the virtual. Love the jacket.
Thank you. I'm from Jespy, and the thing is, if you're in the pilot program, will you still be able to use that point thing?
So even though I'm not answering all the questions, that one was an easy one.
I had a question. You don't have to opt into the pilot program, correct? You don't have to.
Well, we do want you to opt into the pilot program so we can keep track of how many people are willing to take the ride. But you can opt out and opt in very fluidly. So
Do we have to complete the application?
we would like you to complete that.
Well, what about the nurses? Well, by the way, I'm Kathy, I am a nurse.
So look,
And
we will take that offline because you have to seem like you got a lot queued up. And we do want to get,
But we are family.
No, but we do want to get to the
Oh, I do
folks.
sign language. Oh, look at, I speak more than one language too.
We want to get to the folks virtually. So we're gonna turn
We are family. Let's have a good time, everybody. All right.
Okay, Nathan is going to,
Yes.
can we tell him?
Yep.
Can he hear me? Can he hear me? I just told him, we said there's one question. I don't know if Nathan can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry. Nathan, who do we have online with the question?
So we have Steven. We may have to get back to him on this question. He is asking, what is the on-time performance percentage for mass transit?
Yes, we will get back.
We will document that question and, you know,
And
answer it.
we'll get back to him. Thank you, Stephen, for your question.
What you gotta do?
I don't know. I went in on Teams and then I saw it says I already had it on the device and I transferred it over.
Is there someone?
No, that's not a passenger.
Linda, can you put yourself on mute, please?
I got it.
So, if that's all the questions virtually, was that, I saw.
We have Mark. Mark, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I apologize. Hi, how are you? Good. I apologize if this was covered because I came in late, but I just have a question regarding the booking of trips using the online process. The way it's set up right now is, according to the system, if it's a new address, you can't go in and book a new address. It only books addresses that you've actually been to before. And sometimes I get notification for meetings at new addresses after the hours of Access Link operation. So that's a little inconvenient not to be able to book the trip online and have to wait to work with an agent. Is there any idea on changing that process so that we can book whatever location we need to go to online without having to call an agent?
I don't see anyone.
Okay. And I think that's all the comments from the virtual customers. So I'll answer a couple of the questions that were really technology based. During the presentation, I did mention that we are looking at everything, and some of those settings and restrictions from the web usage, that's a policy, that's a procedure, and that's a constraint that we put on the technology. So we are looking at letting people book to different locations other than the saved addresses. That's been something we've been considering for a while. And in that same spirit of customer choice. So if you book, you find the address and that's what you book it to. So it will be in the service area, and we can make sure that stuff happens, but more empowerment for the customer is where we're going, so yeah. Some of the other ones where they're talking about the web, giving them weird window times, that's something very specific, so we definitely have to follow up with those people. And yeah, I think for the most part, people were enjoying where we're going, and they're just giving us great feedback to try to help us make sure we get there on time and a little better. So if there's no other questions virtually, if anybody had one here, we'll take a couple more because we do have a couple more minutes. So I think you had another one? All right, and I think this might be it.
Hi, Karen Hall again, just like the young lady.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
Just like the young lady said on the left over there, will the drivers ever have the ability to use their own common sense, like if they're in the area, without having to call New Jersey Transit, can I do this, can I do that? So I used to work for a company, and the frontliners are the ones that really know. Will the drivers ever have the ability to say, hey, I'm dropping off over here, but I'm passing over there? Will they ever have that ability?
I guess that goes to, are they gonna be on daily GPS? That was a very interesting way to end the forum.
Thank you very much. So what we will be doing is combining all the questions we got, that's what the recording is for, and posting responses to those questions and sending it out. So if you do have an email that we have on file, we will definitely be emailing it out. And we'll be letting you know on our website where to find all the responses to every question that we can. And we'll try to organize it in a very logical way. So if it's technology questions, if it was about policy or service or operations, it'll all be there. So that's why we didn't want you guys to think we're going to answer every question in between. And that concludes our presentation and our feedback section. So, we give you back 15, 18 minutes, folks. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. I thank you guys for joining. Thank you to the interpreters. We really appreciate your service and support. Bye, Kathy. Bye, April.